All right, my friends. So we are back learning, continuing in this beautiful, amazing speech that the Lubavitcher Rebbe, the King Moshiach, gave to his emissaries. This is really the last day of the Shluchim convention, or he gave at least in this is in a continuation of what he said to his emissaries the week before. And what's he talking about over here? He's talking about mainly the month of Kislev. That's the month we're coming into now. And what is the idea of a month in Judaism? What is a month? So the Rebbe explained to us that the whole thing of the month is renewal. Renewal. And that's why the first day of the month is not called the first day of the month in Judaism. It's called the head of the month. The head of the month. Just like Rosh Hashanah, New Year's Day in Judaism is not called New Year's. It's called the head of the year. Why? Because the head contains in it everything. And, just to take this metaphor a little bit further, we can see how important the head is. One little thought that a person has, one little thought can change a person's whole entire life, what he does, what he says, what he does with all of his limbs, how he eats, how he sleeps, everything that he does, right? We see this example for bad. We can certainly see the example, right? We had Napoleon stood up, the Nazis stood up, and he said, we're going to make war against the whole world. And it put these thoughts into everybody's mind, and everybody said, yes, we will. And they went and they killed people, and they got killed. Right? Came along, the communists come along. Money is bad. Anybody has money is bad. That one little idea, money is bad. But that one idea, it changed the actions and the speech and the thought and the value system. Children turned in their parents, right, because they had money hidden under the pillow or something. Money is bad. One little idea in the head changes a whole person's everything he does, he says. Like the idea of loyalty, right? Loyalty. Who are you loyal to? Right? If you're convinced to be loyal to this person, then all of your actions, deeds, thoughts, everything that you have, your feelings are all to justify this person. So that the head is like the seed, and this head contains everything. Same thing, the head of the month. The head of the month contains in it everything that's going to happen in the whole entire month. The head of the year, everything that's going to happen in the coming year. It's more complicated than that, but that's the point. So we see it's the same thing as a child. A baby, the first second that he's born, so we see it's a human being. We don't know what type of a human being it is, if he's going to be smart, if he's going to be intelligent, if he's going to be bad, if he's going to be good. Doesn't make any difference. It's a human being. And human being is something precious. Right? Now they're trying to make in the world, these woke people or whatever it is, that nothing is precious, nothing is valuable, only your feelings, only your this, right? And the children are expendable and everything is expendable if it hurts your feelings. This is a tremendous, huge, evil, destructive, self-destructive lie. Not true. Fact of the matter is life is precious, and even the first instant of life is precious. Says the Rebbe, what are we supposed to be? What's supposed to be our spark that's supposed to enliven us? What is our guiding principle, our first seed? That's supposed to be, we have to do everything we do, everything we say, everything we think, is in order to bring the Moshiach. A person in the physical world, a king from house based David. Okay. So it says this is especially in Rosh Chodesh Kislev. This is especially stressed in the first day of the month of Kislev. That's this month. The name of the month Kislev includes in it two words, Kas and Lo, Lamed Vav. The word Kas, we'll see what it means. Kas, this indicates on concealment. The Chesed, when the moon is concealed. Remember we said before, Yifkod Mishavecha, remember we learned yesterday? That Jonathan said to David, my father, King Saul, when he sees Yifkod will be, that is, empty your place that said King Saul made a big party. We talked about this. He made a big Rosh Chodesh party. He made it every Rosh Chodesh. And he said, David, you don't come because I suspect that my father really hates you. When he sees Moshiach, when he sees that your place is empty, then we'll see how he reacts. And it ended up that he got all angry and he threw a spear at his son. Okay, that's kas means to be covered. Kisui, covered, hidden. The low, that's kis and low. Low, this is lamed vav, and this lamed vav is famous for being the gematria, the numerical value of Eile. Eile means these. That shows on revelation. Namely, the revelation of the moon. So Kes is when the moon is covered. Kes means to be covered. And Lamed Vav shows that it's revealed. This is the Gilui, the revelation, and the renewal of the moon. That's what it says in Nifkarata. The King Saul says he'll see your places empty and he will take notice. He will take notice. Nifkarata means he'll take notice. So this means being empty, being not there, and Nifkarata means he is there. Kafisha Kola, like it is, Kolam Shech Shalach, like it is afterwards. And this first point is like the head, like the little thought that includes everything in it, ad l'shlemos agilu, until the total revelation. So here's the same thing by us. Well, let's just keep this in proper perspective over here. What is the Rebbe trying to say? Everything is just a hint, an encouragement, a message to tell us that our job in the world is to bring Moshiach. That's our job. Even if it's the first little thought, the first little ray, but nevertheless, it's a game changer, right? Just like it could be for evil, right? We see that the Stalin stood up, or whoever stood up, Napoleon, make a war against the world, war against money, war against the world, war against, right? One little thought brought destruction to the whole world. Well, one little thought can bring also construction to the whole world. Healing. What's that one little thought? Mashiach. We need Mashiach. So it says that little spark, that little thought that's like the new moon. There has to be in every detail in all the 6 emotions as they are included in the other 6. That's the Lamed Vav. 6 times 6. In the human personality, which human personality comes from God's personality, because we're made in God's image. So human personality is the number 6 is very important because 6, that's the letter Vav. It's also the third letter of God's name. Vav. Vav is 6. That shows the 6 main emotions. Chesed, Gevurah, love, fear, balance. That's the 6. So 6 times 6, that's this Lamed Vav, that's Eila. Namely, we have to draw down what was hidden into Eila, into case, what was concealed, into this stresses the revelation of Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh is the first revelation. The moon is just a sliver. This is the first revelation that there's hope. There's hope. That hope we can fill all of our life with meaning, with blessing, with truth. The Yetera Mizan, even more than a Kislev, is stressed at the whole idea of Rosh Chodesh more than any other Rosh Chodesh, than any other beginning of the month. That usually the first day of the month is in a way of Bechesed. It's usually concealed, like Rosh Hashanah. What does it mean, Bechesed, with an Aleph, Bechesed? It means that it's covered up, the Aleph, that the Aleph is covered over. That after the covering, all we can see is just the beginning of something, the beginning of relation, the Aleph. Here we say this Kislev is covering up, that brings to Lamed Vav to reveal a revelation into all the 6 emotions. Usually, Bechesed, like in Rosh Hashanah, it says, Tiku B'Chodesh Shofar, Bechesed is a covering up, and after the covering up comes an Aleph. What does it mean? This covering up is just revealed the beginning. Just the beginning is revealed. In the month of Kislev, somehow or other, it indicates that it's possible to reveal this beginning in everything, in all of the emotions and all the days of the week. This Kislev, this stresses that the completion of the revelation that we're talking about of godliness in all of the emotions and all the 6 days of creation and all the, because 6 days of creation, why did God create the world in 6 days? Why didn't he create the world in one instant? He could have done it. Why did he schlep it out for 6 long days? It says because he created the world according to a pattern, and that pattern is the pattern of God's personality. His emotions are 6, and that's the 6 days of creation. Corresponds to 6 days of creation. Okay. From this is understood that Rosh Chodesh Kislev, this hints at Geula of the future redemption. In other words, in simple English, don't give up. Don't give up. The world is not the way it's supposed to be. The world is subject to change in one instant. The door will open up and it'll be totally good, totally blessed. The world will be holy. There won't be any more stupid religions. There won't be any more foolish political ideas and economic ideas and the ridiculous teachings they teach in universities and gender identity and human identity and animal identity, whatever that. Simply everyone will feel that they are a creation of God, and everyone will feel loved and important and obligated and empowered. All the things that are missing now. We have hope. The first ray of hope is shining through. And that hope is the Rebbe. He is our hope. That's it. To teach the whole world Torah, to teach the whole world what's right, to teach the whole entire world how valuable they are. That's Geula, redeeming, realizing, revealing what's hidden. Like Yitzchak dug the wells, right? The water was there. You just have to dig. Okay. So it says that the world is going to be renewed like the moon. But often, Nale Yoter, even higher than Bakal Rosh Chodesh, Kislev is even higher than all the other beginnings of the months. Lo Rakis Chalas Agila. It's not just the beginning of revelation, like it says, Kas means covered, and after is just the Aleph is revealed, but complete revelation after the Kas, the concealment, is Lamed Vav, Elu, to be revealed. And that's the whole idea of Abraham and Judaism in general, and specifically, is to bring God into the world, to show how precious the world is, why God, the finishing point of all of the upper worlds and all the heavens and all these mysteries and secrets and the things like that. The whole point was the physical world. And what's in the physical world? You and me and 8 billion other people. I read that now there's 8 billion people. I thought there was more than 8 billion people in the world. I was very surprised. Okay. The Inyan Geula, this whole idea of redemption is stressed in the Yomim Tovim of the month of Kislev. There's in the month of Kislev, this month, there's holidays. What holidays are? First of all, the main holiday that begins in the month of Kislev is Chanukah. Chanukah is a very amazing holiday, which we'll talk in much greater detail later. But here it's even a passing mention is, how do you say, earth shaking. Al Shem Chanukah, the holiday of Chanukah. This is Chanukah Mizbeach. The inauguration of the altar. What did they do on the altar? They sacrificed animals. Did you ever think about that? Sacrificing animals, that's pretty primitive, right? Person did a sin, he brought it. First of all, the sacrifices were only for accidental sins. They were not for purposeful sins. Purposeful sins, you couldn't bring a sacrifice for that. You had to repent, ask for God forgiveness, etc. A whole process, but nevertheless, the main, there was a couple of them that were for purposeful sins, but that's very rare. Nevertheless, they sacrificed animals. That's this holiday of Chanukah that all the Jews in the world know about Chanukah. Everybody knows about Chanukah. The most unreligious, the most sacrilegious, the most anti-religious Jews in the world, they know about Chanukah, right? Either they do Chanukah, they keep Chanukah, they don't, but Chanukah they know, right? what was it? It was a victory. It was a something. Who knows what happened on Hanukkah? But there's a holiday. You light it up, right? You light the holiday up, and it's so impressive and so eternal that there's other people that tried to imitate it, right? The Kwanzaa, whatever, they tried to imitate it, that maybe it'll, catch on. Doesn't catch on. Doesn't catch on. So, for some reason, Hanukkah catches on, even with non-religious Jews that don't have nothing to do with Judaism, nothing. Hanukkah they do. Right? The songs light the menorah, what Rock of Ages, Hanukkah songs. Why? Because Hanukkah, what are they celebrating? The inauguration of the altar in the temple where they used to sacrifice animals. That's the motivation for this holiday. And even when you tell people this, right? And I mean, on the other hand, there's this big victory that they were victorious over the Maccabees. They killed all these thousands of people, right? And you tell the woke people or whatever, the Jews, that they're the super liberals and open-minded people. This is because of this altar, and because of they killed all these people. So they stand up and say, hey, we got to stop this holiday. This is a terrible holiday, and it just doesn't work. It just doesn't. They're all their, how do you say, their marches, whatever they make, what are they got? The protests, all the protests and things. Like, we got to stop this holiday. You realize what we're doing, friends? Wake up! I'll wake up just one second. I just want to light my candles first. My kids are waiting. This holiday. Why? Because this is also the sacrifices and also the victory has got nothing to do with killing, nothing to do with killing. It happens to be you have to kill in order to do this. The whole thing is to do what God wants. This was in the middle of the second temple. That it was taken over by the Greeks, who the Greeks were the super wokes. I mean, they were really woke guys. There was homosexuality was big time in Greece, 100%, right? And in Greece, no problem. Everybody did what they wanted, with who they wanted, when they wanted, how they wanted. Right? Greece, they were ruling over the whole world. They had these big philosophers that they could justify anything in the world. Right? These amazing philosophers and all these different schools of philosophers, the Epicureans and the Stoics and these. Anything you wanted to do, you had a justification for it. And they took over Israel, which should have made everybody happy. And the fact is, it did make everybody happy, almost. There was a handful of Meshugoyim, and they were called the Maccabees. There was only 13 of them, and they personally made war against tens of thousands of Greeks, the enlightened, normal Greeks, and they won. The 13 people, they won, and they inaugurated the temple, which people were sort of happy to see that there was, the temple was not, by the way, destroyed. The Greeks did not destroy the temple; they just defiled it. And so the people who were okay with the defiled temple, what's the big problem? And they reinstated the altar, the Chanukat. They inaugurated it anew and refined it, and they lit the candles again. They did that anew. And there was a big miracle. It lasted 8 days. What type of a miracle is that? I don't know. It was so impressive. So it lasted 8 days. So what? And that somehow or other touches at the essence of the Jewish soul. Everybody who knows he's Jewish, right? They knows he's Jewish, like all these people. This Kanye West said something against the Jews, and so all of these, totally what do they call it? Non-affiliated Jews. All of a sudden, they're up in arms. How dare you? Who are you? We're not going to take away. That little point inside of the Jew that he knows he's a Jew is that somehow or other is not only in a negative way but also in a positive. They light the lights of Hanukkah. The holiday of Hanukkah appears in the month of Kislev. That the main novelty in Hanukkah of the third temple is going to be of Hanukkah is the building of the third temple and the true redemption by means of the Moshiach, like it's hinted at also in the number 8. The 8 days of Hanukkah that corresponds to the 8 days of Passover and the 8 days of Sukkot. I'm sorry, 8. What am I talking about? The 7 days of Passover. 7 days of Passover and the 7 days of Sukkot. The mispar, that the number 8 candles is higher than the 7 days of the holidays, and also even the 7 candlestick with the arms of the candelabra that was lit in the temple. Wow, how did I get through that? 8, the number 8 is above nature. It's even above Judaism nature. All of the holidays in Judaism are 7 days. The candelabra, the menorah that was in the temple was only 7 stems. All of a sudden we get 8 stems in this. Why? Because there was a miracle with oil, that the oil lit for 8 days. Good, okay, but say it lit for 8 days, but you want to make it similar to the Holy Temple. So light a menorah of 7 staffs like this, and make it for 8 days. In Israel, this adds, because it was all by means of the work of the Jews. The Jews had to fight. They had to change the nature of the 7 days of creation. According to nature, the 7 days of creation, the Greeks were the rulers, and they fought against this. They went against nature, and that's above nature. Like it says, the number 8, this is attached to the days of the Moshiach. It says that the lyre, or the lute, or whatever, the harp of the Moshiach is going to have 8 strings to it. But Doris Acharon in the last generations was also added up. Was also added on, like 250 years ago, another holiday in the month of Kislev. What's that? The Chag Geula, the holiday of the redemption of the first Rebbe of Chabad, Yutet Kislev. That's the Rosh Hashanah of Hasidut. That's the holiday of and also the holiday, the first Rebbe of Chabad was put into prison, almost sentenced to death. He was like on death row. And miraculously, after 53 days, he transformed all of his, his jailers to be friends, to be in awe of him. And after that, there was also the same thing happened to the second Rebbe of Chabad. And he was also put into prison. And the charges were even more severe. But he got out on the 10th day of Kislev. That's the inside of the Torah. Both of these are the inside of the Torah. What's the inside of the Torah? The Torah we learned before in just the mind was water. And this is like oil. This is the oil of the Torah. This is the level of Yechida of the Torah. We didn't learn about this too much, but this is the 5th level of the soul called Yechida. Torah is by means of spreading out the ideas of Chassidut, the secrets of the Torah, the godliness of the Torah out as Atimar, then Mashiach will come. That's what the Mashiach said to the Baal Shem Tov. Allah Ne'amar, it says, Masati David, I have found King David, B'Shem Kodshi Meshachtiv, I will anoint him with holy oil. What is this holy oil? Well, we see that in Chanukah, the whole miracle was with oil, and that Chassidut Chabad is also called oil, the secrets of the Torah. It floats above everything. Well, and it also permeates in everything. If you drop a little oil on your garment, so it spreads out. Well, the Hosiv, Shekavar Nit Kabel, V'Nispashet, it's already been spread out to among all the Jews, the religious Jews. Chodesh Kislev, the month of Kislev is called the month of redemption. Chodesh HaGeula. This begins from the first day of Kislev, which includes all the days of the month, Rosh Chodesh of the Geula. It happens to be that's the day also that the Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, had a terrible heart attack in 1978. And on Rosh Chodesh Kislev, this is like a month afterwards, the doctor said he would be incapacitated for a long time, but he got out. He appeared in public on the first day of Kislev. She says, no, is the Geula Chirush, in addition to the fact that the first day of the month is the new moon. That's in every month, and especially because it's the first day of, not just the new moon, it's the first new moon of Kislev, which he says that's what was covered, is revealed into all these 36 aspects of the creation, 6 times 6. Shemor, this indicates on the novelty of the Jewish people, that they are going to be renewed like the moon in the coming of the Moshiach. Okay, we can also add on the connection of the redemption of the Jewish people to the new moon. And first of all, it's not understandable. What? We find that in the Midrashim, we'll just do a couple more minutes. We found in the Midrashim that the Jewish people, when they were at their high point in the time of King David and Solomon, this was something like the full moon. Halavana Barishon Shala Nisan, Mitchilat, the moon in the beginning of the month of Nisan begins to shine, and it continues until the 15th day of the month. It says V'disko Shalom Mitmaleh, and the disc, the circle of the moon is filled. Kach, also the Jewish people. It says Tet Vav Dor, there were 15 generations from Abraham until King Solomon. Abraham began to shine. He was like the Rosh Chodesh. Since King Solomon, the moon was full. Like it says, V'yeshev Shlomo Kisei Hashem, L'melech Kayim Asiyar Shlemusa, the moon was full. And similarly, also will be the same thing in the future redemption by means of the Moshiach. The Moshiach is going to come from Beit David, and he's going to be from the seed of King Solomon. That's what the Rambam says, Maimonides says. In the Mishnah, right? What does it say? The Sefer HaMitzvahs, and the Sefer Book of the Commandments of the Rambam. So, so since that in the future redemption, by means of the Mashiach from Beis David, and he is from this king, the seed of, and this Mashiach is going to come from, King David had a lot of sons, but he's going to come through those that came from King Solomon. Then Yemamadam Matzavam Shel Bnei Yisrael, therefore the Jewish people will be in the ultimate completion, even more than the completion that was in the time of King David. Third temple will be higher than even the first and the second. So therefore it's more, we should say that why compare the Mashiach to the beginning new moon? Mashiach should be compared to the full moon, Tet Vav Chodesh, the middle of the month, and not the Rosh Chodesh. What are we making this big deal of? Rosh Chodesh, the moon is just starting to be revealed, and it's beginning, and this, the true greatness of Mashiach and the third temple, that's the middle of the month when the moon is full. Shazeh Watid Chodesh, or then there is a new type of light. I'm sorry. The beginning of the month is just a little spark, a little point of light alone. Come on, that's not a good advertisement. We should advertise, and the rest of the moon, it says, is covered over. This is incomparable to the full moon. Oh, so Mashiach should be compared to a full moon, not like what the Rebbe is doing over here. He's comparing it to a beginning of the moon, a new moon, the first sliver of the moon. Why are we saying that the Mashiach is going to be like the sliver of the moon? Why not a full moon? This and more we will answer tomorrow. Let's now learn the Yom Yom. And we can also give a special thanks to God that we did not have a power shortage today. One minute. I'm still in Hebrew. There we go. You're really thankful when we take things for granted. You understand? Yesterday was almost at the end of the class, and all of a sudden, boop, that's it. It finished. And I thought I wouldn't get it back again. And miraculously, I went back and it popped up and said, there's something you didn't download. You want to download it. So, Baruch Hashem, I did download it yesterday. Here we go. Reb Isaac from Hummel. Reb Yitzchak Hummel. He was a tremendously genius Jew, amazing servant of God, and he was a follower of the first Rebbe of Chabad. He said, when I came to Liazna, that was where the first Rebbe of Chabad was, Rebbe Shneur Zalman, the one who wrote the Tanya, the one who wrote the Torah order that we're learning in the morning. When I came to Liazna, I met elder Hasidim that had been Hasidim of the Magid. The Magid was the pupil, the main big pupil of the Baal Shem Tov, and he was the teacher of the first Rebbe of Chabad, Magid, and of Rabbi Menachem Mendel of Horodak, who lived in the same time. Also Menachem Mendel of Vitebsk. They used to say, if you love a fellow Jew, God will love you. If you do a favor for a fellow Jew, God will do you a favor. And if you become a friend of a fellow Jew, In other words, that's more permanent. Befriend a fellow Jew, you actually do something, you do it in a permanent way, then God will be your friend. Pretty. Love a fellow Jew, God will love you. Do a good deed for another Jew, and God will do a good deed for you. Befriend another Jew, and God will be your friend. What happens a friend? A friend only sees good in his friend. He always sees good. A true friend only sees good things, overlooks all the bad, or makes excuses for them. Excuses them. Have a good day with Moshiach now. Hope to see everybody at 3:00. If not, you'll see it on YouTube. Shalom Uvracha.